Welcome to the Stacy A. Cross Show. I am Stacy A. Cross. There's no E in my name. Every Friday at 8 a.m., I'll be coming through. We're talking health, we're talking wealth, and we're talking happiness. I'm a believer of freedom, personal growth, and your journey to success. So go ahead and share, subscribe, listen to this show because it's going to be an amazing one. As always, you can find me at www.thecomfortkillers.com. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go.
How would you respond right now if someone asked you three seemingly simple questions? Who are you? Why are you here? And what are you doing with your story?
How would you respond? Hey, welcome to the Stacy A. Cross Show. Everyone here, as you know, we drop and release every Friday morning, Eastern Standard Time at about 8 a.m. And today is another beautiful day in Philadelphia. Wherever you are, I know it's a beautiful day inside or outside, inside within, outside without. And here we go on another exploration of your health, wealth, and happiness. And today, man, it's a pleasure to simplify the process of understanding your passion and your purpose. I believe this is the best answer I've ever gotten when I ask someone, hey, how do you go about helping people find their passion, helping people find their purpose? Well, today I've interviewed Akosua Dardaine Edwards. And as you heard in the beginning, these three simple questions: who are you? What are you doing here? And how are you going to share your story? What's the power in your story? So I asked her questions about that. You know, a lot of us believe that, and for me too, I was like, well, what story do I have to tell? How do I build that story? How do I help others with my story? I'm telling you, if you have a story, you have a purpose and you know it, there's an itch in your gut, there's that feeling in your spirit, then you're in the right place. You're in the Stacy A. Cross Show. I am Stacy A. Cross, and there is no E in my name. Before I get into that, I want to give some shout outs. I want to give some shout outs to my people on social media. And yesterday I was on Twitter and I got a couple alerts, and I was over here and I went on Twitter and I said, let me check out who's alerting me on Twitter. And I have here a new follower, new leader, I should say. His name is Peter Madrid. And Peter Madrid found Comfort Killers and is totally inspired by what we do, totally ready to kill the comfort, killing that comfort, as he says, and he is ready to take the message and go further with the Comfort Killers. So thank you to Peter Madrid. You're awesome. I see you online. I know what you're doing. And I love you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out. And I want to give a huge shout out to Erica Glessing. Erica and we did a couple podcasts. I did a podcast for her 8-minute inspirational podcast, Erica Glessing Show. And yesterday, she was on my podcast. We actually interviewed for it. It's not going to come out for another couple weeks, but I just wanted to shine some light on that podcast because it's going to be great. It's so impromptu. It's me talking to Benjamin Franklin, and you're not going to believe it. As you know, Benjamin Franklin is one of my guys, moved to Philadelphia. I'm looking at the bridge and I'm looking at what he's done. I'm looking at what, just a great all around, personal development guy. So, I read his autobiography, like I said, every summer. And I said, you know what? I want to talk to Benjamin Franklin. Erica Glessing is a medium, and she was able to bring Benjamin Franklin in. We brought a few other people in, but I want you to just know that show is going to be explosive. So stick around. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you share and bring this out into your network. And have I got some information for you today, Friday, July 13th, Friday the 13th, Black Friday, Friday the 13th. Nothing scary about this Friday the 13th, though. It's all power because today is when our new our revamped website just drops. And what I mean revamped, man, I've been working at this website since 2016. I know a lot of people think I'm crazy. I put it up and I'm like, just not, it's too blog heavy. And then I take it down and I'm like, okay, put it up and I'm like, I just want to showcase this thing and have it, and then I take it down. So after going to Chicago, when I told you in a couple episodes ago that, the whole, how do you design this thing? How do you make it work? Pretty much. You can't have something that's online. I look at it as real estate that is not working. It's not functioning. And you got to be real and honest with yourself. So if you have a business, there's some things that you should know about how the website should function. And really what it should function for is either three things: to get information, right? To give information, or to do both, right? To get and give. When you give information, of course, you're giving it with the expectancy that you're putting in place ways to gather people back. Well, I've upgraded the academy. For those that was in the Comfort Killers Academy. It's now 2.0. What I mean by 2.0, it's easier navigation. The videos are being updated as we speak, but the academy now is the home base. If you want to get uncomfortable, if you want to think differently, if you want to change your mindset, if you want to get unstuck, if you're like my boy Peter Madrid and you're like, man, I want to know what I got to do to get uncomfortable, to be a part of this. Well, all you have to do to become a comfort killer is to go to our academy online, and it has a slew of videos. Myself, I have some friends that help me out, but also my favorite guy in business, the realest real estate investor, Thelonious C. Jones. We get down. That's my brother from another mother, from another mister. Yes, that is my bro, and he comes through and he drops tons of information on different topics inside the Comfort Killers Academy. So I'm going to give you a choice to go inside the Comfort Killers Academy for 7 days for totally free. So you could get an inside look. You could go in there. You could download all the things that you want to download if you want to be like that. Okay. But I want you to get a firsthand view of what we do. And also every month, our members of the Comfort Killers Academy are invited to come on a conference call with me, with Theo, and with other members. Or I might have a guest, and this guest may be able to help us, expand our knowledge and our the way of thinking and our, action and implementation and task into health, wealth, and happiness. Those are the categories there. That's the circle of life, I think. Which one are you focused on? So the Comfort Killers Academy, I'm very proud of it. I upgraded it. It was the last 2 days. I don't even think I ate. I don't even think I ate anything. But I'm very proud of what is happening now with the Comfort Killers. So by later on today, I have a meeting a little later today with my marketing person, and we're gonna just clean up some bugs, and then by the evening you will start seeing some information about the academy and about how to be involved with the Comfort Killers. And also, just another quick announcement, we have a new t-shirt design. Yes, a new t-shirt design. This t-shirt design is actually very cool, very summery. Not that it's all colorful. It's a white t-shirt now. We rocked for 2 years the black t-shirt, You Kill Time, We Kill Comfort. Now we have a white t-shirt with just Comfort Killers on it. So it's kind of cleaner. It looks great. And we're going to be able to, next episode, you know what I'll do? I'll give away a shirt. Okay. So I'll give away a shirt to a listener. So you keep listening and you keep getting that flow. And we'll definitely hook you up with a new Comfort Killer tee. Those will be on pre-order sale next week as well. But I want to give a shirt to a avid listener. I know those of you listen a lot to this show, so I want to definitely be able to reward you for that. So as you know, I'm on all socials, Twitter, Instagram, all of the ones that you frequent. So go ahead and lead me on that one that you frequent, and I will just make sure I give you a shout out. That's what I'll do now. So you message me on any of the socials. I'll definitely give you a shout out, bring your name here. And Peter Madrid, thank you so much again for hitting me up on Twitter. I'm glad that you found the Comfort Killers and found myself and found that new inspiration and motivation. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have you on board, Peter Madrid. That's at Peter Madrid 21 on Twitter. All right. So without further ado, Akosua Dardaine Edwards, she is amazing. She really put a lot of things in perspective for me. Now, one thing that she put in perspective is the way that we have to simplify things. We overcome, I say complex because I'm Jamaican and I'm like, I try to find the word and it doesn't come up too fast. We make everything complex, in our lives. What we're doing, personal development, we put it so complex. All these damn tools, and I'm like, and I love the simple life, simplify, because that's how you get more clarity. When things are overbearing and overwhelming, you tend to shut down, retreat, and go away. But I'm telling you, there's no way to do that. You cannot do that. So the best thing to do is simplify. And then those 3 questions that she asked, we cover the basis of 2 of them. And we do talk about how to share your story, or those that think they don't have a story, those that think that no one's going to listen to them. We actually get into that very deeply. So the first 2 things is, who are you? Who are you without the labels? So she goes into that. And then why are you here? Akosua has written a book, a fantastic book. And I love the titles of her book. Why are you here? What have I learned today? What? Okay. So that will be in the show notes. And you could go ahead and pick a copy up. And I am ready to get into it. But before that, let's just give an overall overview on Akosua Dardaine Edwards. She is an author and entrepreneur who believes in radical self-love. She shares a powerful story of how a group of African women helped her tap into her own story. They asked her a simple question that changed her perspective on life. Akosua Dardaine Edwards is the founder of the Enabling Enterprise Project. The Enabling Enterprise Project is a progressive and interactive program which partner with Caribbean and international women's business support agencies, policymakers, and women entrepreneurs from all over the world for the enhancement, empowerment, exchange of ideas, and experience and best practice of women's enterprise and entrepreneurship worldwide. So her first book, What Did I Learn Today? Lessons on the Journey of an Unconditional Self-Love. And her second book, Why Are You Here? So I want you to get both books and both informations in the show notes right now. Without further ado, let us get started with our TEDx expert here and our, self-love. She brings it. You're going to hear it. You're going to hear it in her spirit and her voice. Okay. Akosua Dardaine Edwards. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure, it is my honor to bring to you all the way from Trinidad. I'm a little jealous, but she did say that it's raining there. I love the rain personally, so I'm still jealous. I have here with me Akosua Dardaine Edwards, and she shares lessons about the journey. This is an episode you don't want to miss. Hello, Akosua. How are you? Welcome to the Stacy A. Cross Show.
Hello, Stacy. Thank you so much for having me, and feel free to come to Trinidad anytime.
I know who to link up now when I go down there. I definitely know
exactly
who to call.
Exactly. You have a home. You have a home.
I'm happy to hear that. So, Akosua, I took a little bit of time to learn about you and what you do, but you have like an awesome niche and what you do to help humanity and more so help women. But I want you to tell our audience who you are. Give us a little background and bring us up to speed.
Okay, well, I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago, and I started out as an accountant, would you believe? I thought that being an accountant would allow me to have a very fantastic life with lots of material possessions. And that's what I was focused on. And then I ended up losing my job and, losing the things that I thought made me successful and worthy. And I was just left with me, Akosua, and I really, really didn't handle it well. I actually ran away. I ran away from it all. I wanted to be as far away from people as possible. And as fate would have it, some woman who had other circumstances really saved my life, and I ended up living in East Africa and rebuilding with them their villages and their vision. So I think right now I would say that I am someone who wants to make where I am better, and I'm someone who realizes that the material possessions are lovely, but it doesn't define who I am, and I just want to, make where I am better with service and with love.
That is.
Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard because, when you're living in a society with that defines success by certain things, and having to kind of re-navigate what it's hard, but it's worth it.
No, absolutely. Now, I want to back up a little bit, because one thing that popped in my mind when you said you wanted to run away from it all, you lost your job, everything is pretty much in a downward spiral, so you think, right? And
yes.
You decided to go to, you said, East Africa.
Yes.
And through helping others, you started seeing the value in yourself. And I think that's so important, because we believe even at our lowest point, we can't do anything. But when you take a look outside, someone else is at a lower point and when you talk about the hierarchy of needs, they need a place to live, they need shelter, they need food, and you're over here in your state. So tell me a little bit about that, how that feeling of brought you up when you were helping others.
Yeah, I just had the idea that I would leave where I was. It wasn't any conscious philosophical decision. It was really like the universe kind of speaking to me. So I thought that I would go and work with a group of women who, I wouldn't have to prove anything to them, because they didn't know me, and I did not tell them my story. And so I just thought I would go and lose myself in that project and then come back and get more material possessions. But when I started to pay attention and immerse myself in where I was, I realized that when we share and when we give and when we open ourselves to others, it's almost the same as giving to ourselves. And that, just as you said, even if you have one slice of bread and you feel you have none, but there's somebody else with either nothing or something else, and you share, it expands. So you have the slice of bread and the peanut butter, or you have the slice of bread and good company. So in that situation, I realized, oh my God, I'm feeling better, and also where I am is better, because I'm present and I'm sharing and I'm learning. So to translate that back into Western society is my mission, really. And that's why I said earlier, sometimes it's hard, because where I am and where what we've been taught is to accumulate. and to show that once we accumulate, we've made it.
And it's so funny though, because in the recent history, very recent, there are a lot of people that have accumulated lots of material wealth and stuff, and they have committed suicide. And you start to question, what is true abundance? What is true wealth? Because if you're not happy, you got all these, because they're in the limelight, we know about them, but there are others, that have not connected. There's 4 big words that you mentioned, but also that I read, and what you're saying here is the self-love. Like, it goes back to the self. When you share something, when you give your piece of yourself to someone else, it comes back to you. What you said was just powerful, because it made me think, when you help someone else, you're really helping yourself. It comes back to you.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned. And I wanted to test it, because sometimes you have an aha moment. And I said, let me test this. Let me just give my whole self to where I am. Because where we were, I started off doing something in Kampala, and we went into the villages, and I said, let me just give my whole self to this. Whatever they want me to do to assist them in rebuilding, I will do it, because there's no hierarchy, as to borrow your word, and there's no shame, and there's nothing to prove. And I did that, and it just kind of opened up my mind to, okay, 1, be present, and 2, me, I have nothing to prove to anyone, but just to show up and give myself, give the best. And if I do that wherever I am, I should be okay.
Yeah, and it's so simple when you bring it back to that. I think, as people of society, and we've gotten, reprogrammed by society and what we should be doing and how we should live, that's so complex, because there's other things in there that makes it harder to live. We have to look around our shoulder. We have to look what Mary has, Joe has, Smith has. Am I success? And our true success is defined by others. But it's so simple when you bring it back and say, you know what, there's nothing to prove to anyone. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be present. That's it.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah. And who is not happy with that? Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. No, that's a part of self-discovery. And self-discovery is your big, that big block of foundation for you. Of course, you had it left, you help people, you're starting to open up and expand your own universe and discover some things about yourself. Now, you built a business around helping others, and so to speak, and primarily helping women. Now, what was the powerful decision for you to make where you said, you know what, this is my life purpose, and I'm going to help women and serve women and give them entrepreneurial and business support and self-love and teach them all of these things that I've learned? Why women, and why this choice?
Well,
because you could have easily went back. I'm sorry, but you could have easily went back to accounting. You learned some things now, right? So you could have went back with all that nice power. Why did it change for you?
I think I could not deny it. I was at a point where I was just about to go back into the corporate world. And I had this interview with one of the biggest companies in the Caribbean. And they were interviewing me and asking me about coming back to work for them as their chief financial officer. And in that conversation, somehow I asked about the employees, the demographics of the employees. And what they told me in a nutshell was the women in the business made up the majority, but they were paid lower than everybody else. And they were trained less. And they basically worked harder. And I sat there and I think, I cannot do this. I cannot, in all good conscience, do this. So what can I do to make a difference where this is concerned? And I left the building, and my friends were shocked and appalled, because at this point I really had very little material possessions, because as I said before, I lost all of them. So I was rebuilding, and they thought I was stark mad. Like, you could just do it for a little while and build up some money, and you'll be all right. And I said, no, I can't do it. I can't. How can I look myself in the mirror after going on this journey and do that? So I decided there and then that I will do the work. I will take the responsibility for myself on this journey, where it may not be as comfortable as it was before, and find a way to work and share with women. And I must admit, it was hard, because it's a new paradigm, especially in the Caribbean. But here I am, and I'm still here, and I haven't gone back to the accounting.
Yeah, no, and you know what's so funny about that is that the ones that, that we think, hey, I feel this way, I just got this information. They don't say, hey, you know what? You got that gut feeling, you got that intuition, go for it. You could do it. Yeah. Instead, they say, no. What are you thinking about? You have this opportunity here. Go back and be comfortable. It's a stable job. It's a stable work. You're mad.
Yeah.
And then, and we start putting that inside our own thing, like, am I crazy? Is this decision? And we start questioning our own intuition, our own self on these decisions. And I did something like that. I quit my 9 to 5. They say, you fire your boss. And when you look around, it doesn't make any logical sense why you would do such a thing. No logic in the world could tell you. But that feeling and that determination that you know that you are called for something else, or else you wouldn't even have that feeling. You wouldn't even get those intuitions. So I'm congratulations. Yes, it is hard, and we know it, but there's a certain few that's meant this big purpose on their back and shoulders, and they're living it. And I'm proud of you for taking that action, and so that you could give more to people, and you are doing just that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So you had a TED Talk, and this TED Talk is titled "There Is Power in Your Story." Yes. There's a lot of our comfort killers that believe. And then, one thing that I say is share your story. There's so much power in that, because someone else could relate and then get the help that they need, or be able to get the answers they need, or else say, at very minimum say, oh my God, wow, that was the light bulb. That was the aha that I need. Someone else went through it. So what do you share? Give us a little piece of that TED Talk right now. And what do you share about the power in your story?
Yeah, I think the thing that I wanted to share is, just as you said, when you share your story in a way that empowers you, it may empower someone else. And one of the absolute life-changing moments I had was I went to do a training session in a village, and I was still in my corporate mood, so I was dressed inappropriately because it's hot and it's outside, but you're in your lovely suit and with all your gadgets, and which didn't work because it was outside in the open with no power. And the women were discussing how they would save and share their money that they made selling their produce. And as I showed up, one of the women who came to greet me, she asked me, "Who are you?" And I rattled off my name and what I came to do, and the fact that I was pretty competent in it. And she kept asking me, "Who are you? Who are you?" And I thought, well, probably she doesn't understand my accent. And then she says, "Do you know who I am?" And I said, "Well, yes, you are representing the woman as the head of this organization." And she said, "No, that is what I do. That is not who I am. And we will not entertain or start this session until you can tell us who you are without the things and the title." And that blew my mind because they didn't know me, they didn't know my story. So they put me in the naughty corner, as I call it, because they told me to go and sit down and figure out who I was before I come and speak to them.
Wow.
And I sat there in the corner for an hour and a half, and everything came back to me. I was, the ugly cry and the boo-hoo and oh my God.
Yeah.
Because it was just such a watershed moment. And when I pulled myself together, I sat there and I thought, I have to be able, or I must be able to say who I am without using any titles. Who am I? It's such a simple question. And in that moment, I realized I wrote a paragraph, and it shapes my life up to today. And at the end of the paragraph, I said, "I am Akosua. I am love, and I am here in service." And everything that I do comes from that space. So when I presented that to her, she gave me a hug and she said, "All the things that you have says something about you, but it could never ever be who you are. And once you know who you are, you'll always be fine." And from that day on, I am very mindful of who I am without the things, because it was almost like I can't even describe it because they didn't know my story. So I shared that in the TED Talk, and I shared the fact that what is your story, and your story doesn't have to be you, but your story could be used to motivate you and motivate others, depending on how you tell that story. Because a lot of times we think that no one else is going through that, or people will judge us for sharing. And
right.
That is not, I've learned that wasn't the case for me. And that's why I ran away. I didn't want to share that I made a mistake, or I chose something that wasn't the best for me. So I wanted to share that, and I did in the TED Talk.
That is powerful. I think that's a great exercise for anyone listening right now to to really, take a day and ask yourself, simple question, who are you? Because you're right. The first thing you start saying are these labels that either your job gave you, your mom gave you, someone else, some outside external thing put on you. But do we know who we are? And that is true self-discovery. And I wrote here that I'm going to write my paragraph because if someone asks me, who am I? Because I believe that's a powerful technique right off the bat, because you're going to get stuck and you're going to be like, wow, do I really know who I am? And it's going to force you to get deeper.
Yeah, and you don't have to go in the naughty corner, okay?
So, you wrote 2 books.
Yes.
And I love your story. I'm always attracted to this type of story and these type of actions that people are doing when it falls in line with raising your consciousness about who you are and personal power and really transforming from inside, from within, and never minding the without. And I know your books complement this journey. And you wrote a book that's titled, What Did I Learn Today? And I think that's awesome. And also you have another book. What's the name of that book?
It's called Nyabo, Madam, Why Are You Here?
Why are you here? These are questions that are so personal. And, first of all, I love the title of these books. I can know what to expect in them. But what did I learn today? I want to talk about that just for a brief. And ladies and gentlemen, Comfort Killers, in the show notes of this podcast, you're going to be able to do the one click and go right to Amazon and purchase Akosua's books. And I want to encourage you to do that right away. And even if you have to pause this podcast episode, because we're going to learn so much about ourselves. And you never answered the question about why women, but we're going to get back to that.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
But what did I learn today? What's this about?
So what did I learn today started off as a journal when I was in Uganda and East Africa, and I decided that I would immerse myself and be present every single day. Every day I would learn something about myself or about where I was and some of the amazing resilience of these women. And it started to become exciting. I would be happy to go back home and write in the journal, what did I learn today? And so I was doing this journal, and then one of the ladies said to me that, you have a responsibility to share your story. And I said, sure, I'll share my story with my family and my friends. And that stuck with me. And somebody else told me, and I decided to write a book. So what did I learn today is a combination of what I learned while being out there, and also I chronicled the journey to me accepting and loving myself, because I was really in a place of dishonoring myself because I wanted to get certain labels of success. So I was doing jobs that was draining. I was married to someone who I really shouldn't have been married to for that long because of many different reasons. But it was just a show, really.
Yeah.
So the book really kind of put everything out there, and some things I never told anyone. So it became part of the book. And at the end of each chapter, I have some exercises because I was on a journey myself. I was really doing the work to accept who I was and forgive myself and love myself and be authentic with myself. So each chapter, the journey to authenticity, journey to forgiveness, there's a work, a little bit of worksheets after each chapter. So it really kind of freed me, really. That book, it freed me to be me. Even though
that was your first book.
That was the first book. And then the second book, Why Are You Here? Is really, that was sparked by me working with women, and there's a common theme, Madam, why are you here? And I would say, I'm here to work, and some would laugh, and some would be quiet, and some would watch me strange. And then eventually they would come and say, you're not just here to work. You're really not here to work alone. That is part of why you are here. But why are you here, really? Why? Do you know? Have you ever thought about it? So it's really just the nuggets from those amazing women who just pick up the pieces and rebuild. And for us to think about why we're here.
So the first book, and these things are, I'm just in deep thought, because you're striking something within me, so that means I know you're striking something within our listeners today, because these things are very simple. What you have done for me today is take out the complexity of business, the complexity of living, and you've made it really simple, especially with these two books that you have. And so you were amongst women. You were amongst them. You started, and the woman that asked you the question, well, who are you, kind of set something off inside of you. And it became this self-developing discovery that you're putting inside yourself, but also you're opening up to the fifth power, because you haven't told anyone anything until you put it in all that book. It was very personal. It was very personal for you. Now, what did I learn today, as well as why are you here, I believe are the precursors for anyone that wants to, those are two questions that are precursors for anyone that really wants to know what their purpose is. Now, you think that, and I know you found your purpose in a way that wasn't conventional. Like, you didn't go out there saying, oh my God, I need to go find my purpose. It kind of fell into your lap, as the universe usually does. It just puts you in places that allows you to open up like a flower.
Yes.
If someone needed to start, like one of our listeners, our comfort killers they have a little challenge right now where they're like, well, I don't know what my passion is. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know why I'm here. I don't even think my story is grand enough, because, everyone supersizes their story on social media. So they're looking at their little story where, they're working hard to make it live, to live. They're doing all these. They don't think they're ready. They are always questioning. There's more to learn. There's more to do. What do you have to say to our people that are listening that have that question? Well, how do you find your passion? How do you know what your purpose is? Where do you start?
That's a wonderful question. I would say, one, sometimes we believe that our purpose is supposed to make us lots of money. And that may not be the case, because your purpose is really to bring you joy and to make where you are a better place. So if you love to bake cakes, that might be part of your purpose, but you may not make a business from making cakes. You may just make a cake for someone and, take it to someone who is in need or someone who likes cake, and you get the joy and they get the joy. So firstly, I would say take the pressure off yourself, like your purpose is some big hallelujah moment which would transform everything, your bank account and your lifestyle, right? It's really just what you were born with, what you love to do, what you would do for free, what you would do if you had no other fare. And you would start there. The second thing I would say is you have to do the work in accepting where you are and forgive yourself if you haven't made the best choices, and know that you can choose again. So if we don't accept who we are, then we will not accept our purpose, because there will be noise drowning out, oh, go and bake that cake. And what happens is, a lot of times when people follow that little voice, that cake making voice, it expands and people start saying, okay, I'll pay you for the cake. I'll pay you for it. And then 15 people start paying you for the cake, and next thing you know, you only make a cake. But you didn't really start off with the fact that this is gonna make me an empire. It's really just listening to that voice that may not make any sense and doing what you love to do at some point. You may come home from work one day and it gives you joy to bake that cake. You find some time to do it, and it changes your mood. It changes the people around you, because you are now feeling better. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that more than answers it. I'm over here smiling because I think that is the perfect way to look at that passion and purpose. You're right. One, it is to bring you joy. There is nothing else on earth and to live this human experience other than to live in joy and harmony and love. Like, that's it's simple, right? When we look at it, it's simple.
It's really simple.
And you're right about that, because I had the same issue where it's like, what thing could bring me the most things? And then I'm like, but that's hard work. And I don't have joy in doing any of that. I want to show people that they could shift their consciousness on a personal development level. That brings me joy. I love teaching people these little tools and tips and strategies, and to awaken them from the inside. Hey, I'm going to start there because I feel good. And you're right. If you love baking cakes, you're going to make the best cake ever. But if you hate doing it and it's a drab, that cake ain't going to have love. It's not going to bring you joy. But what happens when the cake is truly made with love? It attracts people that loves it, which is going to require you to bake more cakes, and that's how this whole thing builds. Yeah. Number 2, you said to accept where you are right now and who you are, because that gives you power and control to change where you are and who you are if you don't like it.
Yeah. It's key.
These are powerful things. You think that's what I'm saying. The simplicity in today's episode is going to break your back, because you never thought that it was this easy. You never did think that it was this easy. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Comfort Killers, the books, the 2 books, they're in the show notes. The website is in the show notes. I'm smiling from ear to ear, because this is something sometimes you even need to hear it. You need to get reacquainted with who you are. So everybody that I interview, I say, well, why is this affinity? Why is this attraction bringing me this person? What do I need to learn today? You understand? So anything that I take it in all my meeting and how what I need to learn, I bring it back to myself, but I know that this is going to help my listeners as well. I always ask a question because there's one final question, and I always ask it, and I don't care if you're answering it in a paragraph, if you answer in one sentence. All I care about is what you said. It will, it's for you. So I want you to go back in time to that time when you were, got laid off, got the job was, gone, the material stuff is starting to dwindle. All these things are happening in your life. You go back to corporate America now, okay? You've already learned some valuables. You go back to corporate America and you walk out that day, okay? You walked out that day. If you're able to go back in time and have a conversation with that self right there, that person, what are you saying? What are you telling yourself?
If I could go back now?
If you could go back in time to that time when you walked out of that corporate office and all these feelings started happening, what are you telling yourself at that point?
I would say, girl, your life is about to change in a way that will blow your mind. And just be ready and just be open and just be willing. And don't try to control it because it's going to be all right.
Wow. See, that's what I love. I love it. Because you know what? We didn't know at that time there's so many things happening. And if we were able to just see our own selves in the future come back to us and be like, chill, it's going to be okay. And everyone I asked that question up to this point said that. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. So why do we put ourselves at this moment right now in a place where we're going to be fine? You hear it here. Stop trying to control it. Live. You ever had someone ask you for money or anything, and they're like, man, if I don't get this today, I'm done. The bill collector's on my ass. I am done. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then 2 weeks later, they were okay. They didn't get the money. They didn't get locked up. They didn't die. Look, they're okay. They're breathing. So sometimes I think we put too much on ourselves. We complex the situation too much. Simplify life, but also simplify your meaning of life. And that is a powerful message today. How can my people find you? Where could they find you? Give us the socials. Give us the don't give me your social number, your social security. Just give me the social networks we could find you on, and we could follow up with you.
Okay, so my website is www.AkosuaDardaineEdwards.com. I'm on Instagram, Akosua D. Edwards. And on Twitter, Akosua D. Edwards, and on Facebook, Akosua Dardaine Edwards author.
Okay, and all of that will be in the show notes. And do you have a quote that you want to leave us with today for today's show?
Yes, I would. Firstly, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to share lessons on the journey. It was a wonderful conversation. You had my paws raising with your passion and excitement and some of your nuggets. So thank you for that.
Welcome.
I just wanted to say to your listeners that you both are everything and have everything, and start from there.
You've just listened to a episode of the Stacy A. Cross Show. You can subscribe and get more episodes on my website, stacyacross.com, and my company's website, thecomfortkillers.com. As always, you can get me on all my social media at Stacy A. Cross. Go ahead and subscribe, and we will see you next week. I am.